This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesianicristo.
And welcome to INCRadio South Central State Satellite Studio. Welcome. And today, as you know, the past few weeks, the Olympics has wrapped up. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We have a guest who actually went to different Olympic games. And so let's go ahead and introduce our guest.
Hi, it's Eileen. I am from the sunny state of California.
Welcome. And I do know it is early, so we do apologize for having you wake up early to join our show. And then also here in studio, we have Nate. Nate, say hello.
Good morning, everybody. I'll be monitoring the live chat. So if you have any questions or comments you have about the Olympics, go ahead and drop them in there. Also say what city you're from, and we'll give you a shout out.
Thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and start with our topics. First of all, how many different Olympic games have you been to so far, and where were they
at? 2.5. 2.5 is me wishing I had gone to the one where it occurred during COVID. So I've only been to 2, one at Rio de Janeiro in 2016, and then currently Paris, 2024.
And so what interested you in wanting to go watch the Olympic Games in person as opposed to watching it on TV?
It was the London Olympics in 2012. I vividly recall being glued to the TV. I love sports, and so I was glued to the TV every Olympics. I watch it. But the 2012 Olympics really had me glued to the TV. I was cooking and my laptop was on. I was cleaning, doing laundry, and the TV was on. So literally I was glued to watching Olympics 24/7, 2012 London Olympics. And I told myself, okay, the next Olympics, I'm going to that. There's no way I'm going to be sitting at home watching it on TV when I have the capacity to be able to travel and go to the Olympics. So next Olympics was Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and I told all my sisters, hey, I'm going to the Olympics. You guys want to come? And of course, my sisters were like, yeah, let's go. Okay. So I started looking for hotel Airbnbs that could fit about 16 of us because I didn't know who was actually going to come through, when it was going to come out of the group chat, planning vacations and everything. And so Rio de Janeiro rolls around and Zika virus hits. And my sisters, I remember them telling me, I don't think you should go. We're not going. I don't think you should go. The Zika virus is going on. And so I said, no, I told myself I would not be sitting in front of the TV come 2016. And so literally a week before the Olympics, I still had no plane ticket, no reservations for anything. But I did have a friend that I planned to go with, and he was still planning to go. So I decided, oh, my gardener is here. I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. I'm going to continue to talk so that you can't hear it. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. Literally, because my sister works for the airlines, she was able to hook me up with a standby flight, and I flew out to Brazil without any inclination of where I was going to stay. Luckily, I was able to find an Airbnb right off of Copacabana, which is where the venue was for the beach volleyball Olympics. And so that was my first experience. And experiencing it in Rio de Janeiro, which is probably one of the most dangerous areas in the world, you would not want to go as a single female, and me at this stature, being this small, it was probably not the best decision going to the Olympics in Brazil. You literally could walk across the street on your cell phone and somebody will grab it from you in broad daylight. So that was the feeling of having to, go to Brazil. But travel tip for anyone, if you want to go to any country and the Olympics is hosting it, that is the best time to go. It is the safest time to go. And so the host country must prepare their city to accommodate all the Olympic goers. And so they really make it a safe place. So if there's ever a place that you want to go to that's dangerous and they become a host city, take advantage of it. So to answer your question, my very first Olympics was in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Okay, so you were talking about safety. Because here on TV, they did talk about like all the different violent things that were happening around the venue. Melanie was asking what events happened or did you notice while you were at any of the Olympics that, wasn't safe?
Whether it was Brazil or Paris, I didn't experience that and I didn't feel that. I know towards the end of the Olympics on closing ceremony day, it's like the city gave up and they kind of stopped having the security detail around the tourist areas and the venues. But my personal experience, I did not experience that at all. One of the fears that I had about going to Europe or Paris is, everyone's horror story that you're going to get pickpocketed. And so I contacted my sister and I said, hey, I need one of those fanny packs that you could hide in your clothes because I take my passport everywhere I go for shopping reasons. And so that was one of my fears, is that I would end up getting pickpocketed. I did not have that feeling at all when I was in Paris or in any parts of Europe these past 2 weeks. And it was because, again, the host city, it has to take the responsibility of cracking down on things that may deter Olympic goers from going to the Olympics. So there were police everywhere, also military police. They had their rifles or machine guns, whatever it is, but they had big guns walking around tourist areas and the venues. So it was pretty safe. I thought I was going to go to Europe clutching my bag, walking around, being on high alert for pickpocketers of anyone just bumping into me. And that did not occur. And I told my sister, dang, we could have bought our regular purses. We didn't have to be so scared. And so we didn't experience that at all. So when I say travel tip, it really is the safest time to go. The host city cleans up their town and all the surrounding areas for tourists because they know they're not just coming for the Olympics. People are there to tour the country as well. And so it was just, for me personally, my experience was very safe. I was not looking over my shoulder at all. I wasn't concerned about standing at the doors of the subway, getting my things grabbed and then the subway door closing. That was just, it was not a fear. And I tell you, because I had planned to go by myself, that was probably one of the highest concerns that I had, not, experiencing something like that, getting pickpocketed and not finding a way to get back home because my credit cards and passports are all gone. Luckily, my sister invited herself and her husband to join me. So then the kind of fear kind of gone away. And I just told her, hey, it's every man for himself. You got to fend for yourself. If you get pickpocketed and I have an Olympic event to go to, I can't go with you to the police station. I'm here for the Olympics. I'm there for 2 reasons, and I am going to fulfill what those goals are. So I prepared her too. Don't be bringing your luxury brand purse because I'm not watching out for you. So it was a good experience. I didn't. Fortunately, I did not experience any negative, anything that had a negative impact on me.
Yeah. And that's true. My oldest sister is known for all her luxury brand purses. And the one thing we get out of it is when she's done using it, she actually gives it to us. Okay, so now you're saying safe. That means hopefully in 4 years, it will be totally safe to go to Los Angeles.
Well, I do have to say, Paris did an amazing job as a host city. Um, when I went to Brazil, it was the first experience. I didn't know what to expect. What I truly enjoyed for that was building that human connection and meeting people from all over the world and seeing people come together in the spirit of sportsmanship. And no matter what language barrier there is, you don't experience it because you have a common goal to watch the Olympic Games. However, with Paris, in hindsight, they did such an amazing job as a host city, and I was thinking to myself, okay, LA, what do you have to bring in 2028? Because America, we're known to you know increase income or revenue, and that's the goal, that's the American dream, to increase revenue. And in Paris, I kid you not, you did not have to buy Olympic tickets to the venues or to the events because they had so many viewing parties. And when I'm saying viewing parties, it's a huge block party with live screens watching every event you could imagine. And so they just did an amazing job of offering all these free activities that are Olympic related. And I thought to myself, okay, what is America going to do? Because America charges for everything, the airport cart. I mean, every country, every city that I know of, it's free. Over here, you're charging charging $5, and if you return the cart out of courtesy, you get 25 cents back. In my mind, I'm just thinking, okay, what is America going to do? As a host city, what are we going to offer these tourists that come specifically for the Olympics? And we all know LA is not the greatest area in California. There are some areas that are sketchy, and the traffic.
Well, I did notice they are starting to clean up in LA. They're already showing videos on social media of the different places they're cleaning up just to make sure that they're ready for 2028.
They
Now,
do, yeah, they do have to promote it.
yeah. So when you go to the Olympics, usually what sports do you watch, and how do you get tickets?
Um, I have a love for volleyball. No matter how small I am, watching indoor men's volleyball, one of the most exciting events to watch. Track and field, they're just running down a strip. Basketball, hey, you might not get an exciting shot at every play, but with volleyball, every single play is exciting. So I've only been interested in watching indoor men's volleyball. I was fortunate enough to watch Simone Biles make her debut in Brazil, and somebody was scalping tickets, and I just happened to be at the Olympic Village. I'm like, okay, why not? Not knowing it was the finals competition, and amazing to just experience a lot of the things that broadcasting stations cut out. It's the emotional experience of seeing the entire arena in awe when you know how much these individuals have prepared 4 years out or all their lives, and to make that one slip and the entire arena is gasping like and so it is an emotional experience that they don't capture or don't broadcast to the different stations in all the countries. So when you ask about how do you secure an Olympic ticket, well, you have to purchase the tickets a year in advance. So with Paris, I had purchased it actually just this year, because last year it's a lottery system. You enter a draw, and if you get picked for open sale, you only have a certain time slot to make that purchase. Well, I was lucky enough to make the draw last year, and I forgot. And so I missed my time slot. And I thought to myself, okay, I guess I'm not going to the Olympics. However, earlier this year, around March or April, they sent me a notification saying, hey, we're opening up seats. We're going to release new seats. Try your luck. And sure enough, luckily I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching
Your K drama.
Yes, watching K-drama, and I turned on my notification and I was alert because I thought it was at 10 o'clock in the morning, PST, Pacific Standard Time, but it was Paris time and 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh shoot. So I logged in, quick and easy. Secured 2 tickets, thinking I was going to take my son with me. So I secured 2 tickets for 2 events, the semifinals and the bronze medal game for the men's indoor
So
volleyball.
you don't get to decide what teams you're going to watch. You just pick the event.
You pick the event and the sessions. So they have morning sessions, afternoon sessions, and evening sessions. And you're right, you don't know who you're going to watch because you don't know who's making it through the. You don't know who's making it through
To the competition.
correct. And so, but for me, I chose to watch semifinals and bronze because I didn't want to watch the preliminary games where, some are not really qualified to be in the Olympics. And so I really want to watch an intense game. So I purposely bought the semifinals and the bronze game. And the closer you get to the medal games, the higher the prices are. And so I figured, okay, Japan has to make it to at least the bronze medal. So I'll catch them in semifinals and maybe the bronze game. But I was willing to sacrifice my bronze ticket and hope that they made it to the silver and gold bracket. Yeah, everyone knows how that panned out. But so you buy these sessions, not knowing who you're going to watch. As the day approaches, you already know who's making it through the brackets, and you can sell your tickets, resell them, and then also look to purchase new tickets if anyone has sold it. And most people from different countries, they want to watch their country. That I'm not such a patriot of America. So I wanted to watch Japan, and I was for sure, knowing how they had performed in the VNL, that they were going to make it to semifinals and to the bronze games. And so that's how I made the decision on which sessions that I wanted to purchase, way in advance before I even had a plane ticket or a place to stay. Once I secured my event tickets, I told myself, okay, I guess I am going to the Olympics. And then the next day I started planning of where I'm going to stay, started researching how much my tickets were going to cost. This time I didn't rely on my sister to get me a standby ticket, because if I paid this much in euros for an Olympic event, I better make it out there. So I'm not chancing it at all. So
Well, you would have made it if you would have chanced it.
saw that.
Now coming back from Paris, that would have been a whole nother story. Now, okay, so you were talking about like qualifiers. Besides volleyball, because breakdancing, this was the first time it was an Olympic sport. Did you watch any of the breakdancing events?
On TV or in the venues, the viewing venues, yes. And I know a lot of people are saying it's questionable. Although you need athletic abilities to do these breakdancing moves, spinning and being able to do a headstand, that takes a lot of core muscle, and it really does take a lot of athletic skills.
Okay, so
However, you can't let one participant really bash the whole entire category. And I did watch, I'm not calling out any countries, but I did see I thought it was a joke, honestly, when Australia came out, and she was silent on social media, and she finally came out and said, hey, I did my best. And if truly that was their best and that's what represented their country, then that's what you get. But
well, the thing was, when I was watching on TV, that was the only one I had caught at the time. Like, I didn't see the other competitors, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is breakdancing in the US like totally different from other countries? Because that's not what our breakdancing is.
Well, and you see that the different genres of dances, even with just the American TV show, So You Think You Can Dance. I used to watch that. I'm so used to the Western style of dancing. So when I saw Florida and those other dance crews, I was thinking to myself, well, what is this? So just in our country alone, there's different styles of dancing. So you can't imagine what the entire world has to offer and what actually interests them. And I think that's the most interesting about the Olympics is you really are exposed to different cultures and different styles, whether it's fashion, sports, music. That's one of the greatest things about going to the Olympics is having that exposure of the diverse cultures that you wouldn't necessarily get in your own country, let alone your own state, let alone your own city. So
Okay. What about because like usually with each venue they do different opening ceremonies. Were you able to go to the opening ceremony for either the Paris or the Rio?
I did not. That would require me to take 2 weeks off of work, and the volleyball events doesn't happen until the second week. So I have not attended any of the opening ceremonies in any of the Olympic cities. However, because you meet so many different people who work from different companies, I was offered to watch the closing ceremony in Brazil, and I still stay connected with those people for obvious reasons. But I was not able to attend because I was flying standby, and my sister's all, no, you got to catch this flight. And it was the day of the closing ceremony. So I did not get to experience that at all, which would have been one of the highlights of the trip because it was Rio de Janeiro handing off the responsibilities to Japan, and the Prime Minister of Japan came in as Mario from, that video game. And it was just fun to see. Obviously, Paris, you had Tom Cruise coming down as a Mission Impossible character, hoping that they were going to show some type of him arriving in LA, but they kind of stopped it right there. So much more, anticipation to see what's going to happen in LA. So no, I have not attended the closing or the opening ceremonies because you kind of want to beat the air traffic rush.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to get a whole seat to myself flying out of Paris because when I chose my seat the night before, there was like at least 10 empty rows. I board my plane and every seat is taken. And the lady who was sitting next to me, she, her airline had canceled flights. And so they were just rerouting everyone. And my flight ended up just being too full.
So then, like on TV, pretty much all we can see are the events that's going on. But you keep talking about all these Olympic villages. What are the Olympic villages? What can you do? What do you get out of it? Because that's not something that we see on TV.
It really is a special treat for those who make the effort to go out to these host cities. Olympic Village is basically where they have the Olympic official store. They do have pop-up stores throughout the city so that you don't have to travel so far to get to the Olympic store. But the official Olympic store has all the merch that is widespread that the little pop-up stores don't have. In addition, every host city sets it up differently where they have activities and events for Olympic goers. And so in Brazil, it was fun. They had all of these gymnastics props that you can use. And so I've shared on social media, I was pole vaulting as an Olympian. And you could take, their photo ops basically. But in Paris, their Olympic Village focused a lot on the athletes, what they eat, where they're staying. But they also have these houses. It's called Olympic houses. And it's not necessarily in the Olympic Village. It's throughout the city where a country hosts a house. And this also I experienced in Brazil. Of course, I went to Korea House. And it's a country's opportunity to expose the participants with their culture. I'm a huge fan of Korean culture, and so that's where I decided to visit. And they expose you to K-pop, the Korean food, what is popular in Korea, the hanbok. They even had a room where you could change into hanbok, which is a Korean attire, traditional Korean attire. You can take photo ops. Photo booths are a big deal in Korea, and so they had photo booths everywhere where you could take photos with K-pop artists or celebrities. I did the Olympic thing and took photos with the Korean swimming team. So they have these Olympic houses that you can visit. Some countries charge for entry, some do not. Korea did not. Obviously, they're pretty generous, especially when you shop in Korea, they give you a lot of these free samples. So that was their culture, and so that's what they demonstrated in this house. They also exhibit art, music, everything that you can embrace in their country without having to go to their country. And I think it's a way of promoting tourism. So one of the other houses that I wanted to go to was Mongolia because of their Olympic fashion. I think they had one of the best Olympic attire, but I didn't get the chance to because I was so engulfed with doing Olympic activities that if I had not reserved Paris events, I probably would not have been able to really explore Paris or any part of Europe because Paris did such an amazing job as a host in engaging participants and having so many activities for them to do.
And at these houses, like besides experiencing their culture, did they give things away? Were there things that you could have?
Yes. So somebody in social media has sent me, hey, Olympic House, Korea is sending, giving out free skincare or pins. And I went there and nope, they didn't do that. But it was still enjoyable. I know, I think it was Germany when I was in Brazil, the Germany house. It was just a party. And so you get to enjoy. They also have viewing parties at these houses. So when I attended or I went to the Korea house, it was during the time that the Taekwondo tournament was going on, and they had a representative from Korea who obviously won. And so they showcase those types of events that are going on for the Olympics.
So what was the difference between the Rio and the Paris Olympics? Like positives and negatives?
I would have to say because Brazil was my very first Olympic experience, I was just enamored by being able to make connections. It was the first experience. I didn't know what to expect. And so I was just fascinated with everything, the diverse cultures and being able to connect with other people from other parts of the world. I completely enjoyed Brazil. I would probably have never gone there because it's so dangerous, but I was able to see a lot of the tourist sites in Brazil. In Paris, I had higher expectations because I already know what it felt like to go to the Olympics. And I have to say they kind of did meet my expectation. It was just difficult because it was the first time that I had gone to Paris, and that was intentional. I've always wanted to go to Paris, but when I found out that they were going to be a host city, I said, oh, I'm going to wait till the Olympics and kill two birds with one stone. So the difference between the two really is learning the languages. And every time I visit a different country, I really try to embrace their culture and try to immerse myself into that and at least learn the respectful terms of their languages. But I have to say, I was more involved in Olympic events and activities in Paris than I was in Brazil. So to compare them, it would be difficult. I do have to say the Paris Olympics did such an amazing job with keeping participants engaged. I don't think I've mentioned it here, but there is a cell phone brand that was a vendor. They actually are a sponsor. They've been a sponsor for almost 12 Olympics, which I did not know. And they give every Olympic athlete a cell phone, the Flip Z. And they gave away about 17,000 phones to these athletes. And every bronze medalist was required to take a selfie on the podium with all the other winners. And so it's things like that you get to experience. And this cell phone company out of Korea just did a really great job of demonstrating what their technology can do. And it was funny because there were other participants there, obviously with a different type of phone. And I would always tease them and say, don't worry, your fruit phone will get that in about 3 years. But anyway, this company kept everyone engaged where you download an app, and they basically made a Pokemon Go game where you walk around Paris, the entire city of Paris, looking for these fridges. Fridge is the mascot. So you look for these fridges and you collect them. Once you get 4, you can redeem it for Olympic pins. And so I think I've got over 20 Olympic pins because I did it for the first day and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then I said, no, I have to collect the entire set. So then I had a free day of tourism and I had nothing planned. And I said, okay, fine, let me just do it again. And so I immersed myself in this Pokemon Go type game walked all over Paris and collected these stamps just so I could redeem them for free Olympic pins. And believe it or not, because of all the walking, I lost weight. So that was a benefit.
How many pins were in the collection?
I think there were 12, and then you had 4 special pins. I didn't get the special pins because it was just a rare. It's like a rare Pokemon, right? So it was a rare pin. I didn't get the 4, but I was able to get the whole collection of the 12.
Plus, you had extras.
I have extras. So if there's anyone on here right now, if you want to do a drawing or a raffle, I'm willing to, give it out to anyone.
You could just save it for me when I come home.
Yeah, no, I have a ton. I have a ton of extras of duplicates. So I'm willing to give those away.
Okay, so you were talking about food. What was the food like? Like, were you eating at the venues where they were having the games? Were you just, were there like, in the US, they have like food trucks sometimes that they'll have out at different events. So what was the food type like when you were participating in an event?
Well, at the venues, Olympic venues where the events are happening, it's just concession food. What we normally have here in America. However, if you're going into those Olympic houses, they do have their own cultural foods. So in the Korea house, they had tteokbokki or some type of mandu. So depending on where you went, the food is different if you want to experience that culture. But again, it was my first time in Paris, so I wanted to experience the croissants and all the other types of food that are specific to their country. And so we ate French food, a lot of pastas, a lot of carbs. But it's not like what they have here in America. I ate my heart out and did not gain a single pound. So
okay, so since you were in Paris, did you try the escargots?
I did not, and
Why not?
I've had the opportunity to try escargot when I was a child, and I refuse. You could say I am a picky eater, so imagining that I'm eating a little creature. No thanks. But when we were younger, my dad would pay us $5 to try out, exotic foods like escargot. It definitely is not something that I'm interested in. I'm a boring eater, but I do love good food. However, my brother-in-law did try the escargot multiple times and he loved it. So I can't say too much about exotic food, especially in Paris, but I tried the typical pastries and croissants and anything that had chocolate in it.
See, I fell for that $5 and I still never got my $5 for eating escargots.
Yeah, but was it worth it?
It wasn't bad. It kind of tastes like garlic, like shrimp scampi.
Okay.
And I think it's the whole mind thingy that, ooh, you're eating a snail, as opposed to like if you would just had eaten it without knowing what it was, I think it would have been fine.
And that's what it is for me because I'm a picky eater. Cheesecake. I have never eaten cheesecake until mid-20s. And I've passed it up so many times because who wants to eat cheese in their cake? It's like having mamon with cheese on top. It's a dessert. What cheese has no business being in a dessert. And so that was just my whole attitude towards food. So just the thought of eating snails or
Well, next time you have to be more adventurous. You're already there. You might as well try it. So at least you could say, yeah, I've done that, or no, I haven't. So,
or
anyways, so Nate, do we have any comments or any people we would like to greet that is listening to us this morning?
Yes, we've been greeted by a lot, especially from Baton Rouge. They tuned in again. Thank you for tuning in. But we have Oliver from Biloxi, who's traveling on his way to Florida, where I used to live. He passed by Pensacola
Oh.
not too long ago. We also have Froy from Jacksonville. Let's see. We also have brother Byron from Baton Rouge, our minister there in Baton Rouge. Thank you for joining us. We also have brother Matt, who's a minister who's visiting us here in Dallas because there's going to be a movie showing later on in Blue Ridge. We also have Maureen from Baton Rouge, Dawn Johnson from Arkansas, Melanie, who usually runs the cameras when I'm not running the cameras. She's greeting us here from Fort Worth.
I think she's turned it over permanently to you because I haven't seen her here.
Well, if I need to host again, then we have to bring her back in. She's a lot better at reading comments than I am. We also have, but I'll do my best. We also have Rose from Jacksonville, Jane, our regular from here in Fort Worth. We also have Mark from Baton Rouge, my good friend Mark, Fredolin, Romelu, Joselito, Sabayan, greeting us from Odessa, from the frontiers of the great state of Texas. We also have Robin from Jacksonville. Let's see, we have Faye from Jacksonville. A good number from Jacksonville, actually. Let's see, we have my friend Kerwin from Baton Rouge. Were you gonna say something?
Since we've gotten a lot of Baton Rouge and Jacksonville, maybe we should take the show on the road and go to Jacksonville and Baton Rouge and air from there.
I'm 100% down with it. I love, well, especially with Baton Rouge, they have amazing food.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh yeah, they deep fry everything down there in the South.
I'll do the okra, and that's about it.
We also have Mila Johnson from Jacksonville. Let's see. We had Matt saying if he could go to any Olympic Games, he would have gone to Brazil. We also have Winged Nike Pub. I don't know their. Oh no, she said it. She's from. She's Jennifer Trinidad from Long Beach.
Yes, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
We also have Victor from Blue Ridge, Texas, which is a city north of Dallas. Really, really small. City is being a little over generous. Yeah, it's a intersection.
But did you see what Oliver said? There's a Filipino version of escargot where it's with coconut milk, squash, and string beans. I did not know that.
I was getting there because we mentioned the snails, and then people were chiming in if they've ever tried snails. We also have Faye greeting us. Let's see. We have Christy, who is also from Odessa. Let's see. We have Kaizo from Baton Rouge. Rico Navarro from OKC. He mentioned that in the future that the I think it's a softball or softball
for LA it will be,
and the whitewater rafting is going to be in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
If you didn't know, Oklahoma City has whitewater rafting that goes through the city.
Oh, did not know
they actually built it in there. We have to check that out.
Yeah.
Because you ever done whitewater rafting?
I've done rafting, not really whitewater. I mean, like there were some rapids, but not really, because we would do it in the Sacramento River and the American River. And so it's kind of mellow. There were little bits and pieces that kind of sped up, but not like the hardcore that you would see like in Colorado.
Yeah, I did it in Colorado. And when we were going through, we were like, oh, this is, it's kind of bumpy, but it's kind of fun. And then when they took the picture of us, I was like, that looks way more intense than it was in the boat. Yeah. So it's not as intimidating to do whitewater rapids. Of course, don't be doing the Black Diamond level 6 for your first trip. But yeah, it's not that scary. You also have Ian Leoza, Kenneth Owens, trying to get everybody, Ederlin. And let's see. I mentioned Christy earlier. Sophia Bird from here in Fort Worth.
Well, I want to know where Oliver's from because he says he ate cobra, lizard, python. So what is that about?
Has to be the South.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, down in Baton Rouge, you can try alligator tail.
No,
It tastes like chicken.
they had that in Thailand, and I didn't try it, and I don't think I want to try it in Louisiana.
But yeah, the comment section went off the rails a little bit as we started talking about exotic foods. So maybe we have to do an episode and bring in some exotic foods and make our host here try some.
Yeah, because you're hosting that day, right?
All right. Well, I thank everybody. We thank everybody for tuning in. Back to you, Arnie.
All right, so we're just getting to ready to wrap up. First of all, I just want to thank our guest, for attending and being here this morning. Do you have any last minute shout outs you'd like to make before we go?
Probably just, thanks to my sister and brother-in-law who accompanied me to the Olympics and traveled 3 countries this past 2 weeks. But my true shout out is to my most favorite person in the entire world who's out there in Thailand. Hopefully you're staying safe. Be careful and make good decisions. Love you.
All right. So, with that being said, we just want to thank everyone for tuning in this morning. Before we go, we do want to say a special thank you to our CFO coordinator and SEPC president, Brother Angelo Irano Manalo, and to our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Until then, we will see you all next week, same time, same place. Adios.
Thank you. Enjoy the holiday weekend.
See y'all later.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or iglesianicristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome